We all experience turmoil and extraneous circumstances that put our very being to the test. I mean, I think this pandemic, right, pushed all of us to our edge. The entire 2020 did. But when this happens, some of us crumble and some of us succeed. And even though some people are put under this high, immense pressure, they still continue to succeed and push forward despite all the odds. So when this happens, this phenomena, we call resiliency. It's our ability to just keep moving forward despite being knocked down by life over and over again. And for this reason, resiliency is one of the most coveted traits that we can acquire. And while there are many, many things that you can do and learn to become more resilient, today I want to show you how your attitude and your perspective are one of the key attributes to becoming and staying resilient. See, as human beings, we're capable of projecting ourselves into the future. We can think about what might happen to us. And this projection into time is where our fears and our dreams come from. We can imagine our future and either conjure up this scary image, or we can conjure up a positive image that encourages us. And whether we think positive and hopeful thoughts or negative ones is solely up to us. And based on these seemingly minuscule, almost impulsive thoughts, we actually make choices that continue to shape our future in our life. So if you're afraid, you're going to pull back on that promotion, that deal, and never get it. Or if you're hopeful, you're going to be positive and you're going to go for it, and your life is going to turn into something completely different and unexpected. So to be resilient, it means to keep moving forward with hopes and dreams, even when your circumstance dictates otherwise. To be resilient, we have to keep moving past our circumstance and train ourselves to look at our life positively no matter what's happening. Not just look at our life positively during the good times, but especially during the horrible times. I mean, how can we look at this COVID-19 pandemic and world economic crisis and everything that's happening positively? But if you want to be resilient, if you want to keep moving forward, you have to find a way to look at any situation positively. You have to be able to project your prosperous, healthy, happy future. Otherwise, you're going to give up, and off goes your resiliency. So regardless of who we are, black or white, rich or poor, educated or not, life will strike us in unexpected ways, catching us off guard, often leaving us paralyzed and uncertain how to move forward. I mean, we're all familiar with that saying, right? We plan and God laughs. I mean, whether you believe in God or not, it's really irrelevant, because regardless if you call it God or universe or just bad luck, as we make our plans, trying and hoping to control every aspect, and if things just happen in our world that steer us off in a whole new direction, often wreaking havoc and turning our world upside down. When this happens, these are the moments we have to be resilient. These are the times that make us more resilient. It's not when things are going pretty good. I mean, for me as a kid growing up in Bosnia, I planned on being a professional athlete. I started playing sports as a toddler and I never stopped. I was on the city's professional basketball team, volleyball team. I played tennis and soccer nonstop. And I was actually one of the best players in my age group. And when my friends were worried about clothes and hair and nails, I was playing soccer. When my girlfriends pined over boys, I dreamt of being on the basketball court, scoring that winning basket. Swoosh, just going through the net. I mean, I had a plan. I was going to be a professional athlete, and there was no way of stopping me. Until one day, when my life changed. I remember it vividly. It was during the Bosnian genocide, where my family and I, along with 60,000 other civilians, were struggling to survive constant bombings and sniper attacks. And that day was July 14th, 1993, 27 years ago. I was outside with my friends when my mom called me upstairs to have some soup. Now, soup is mostly what we had to eat because we were surrounded by two armies and we had no food, no water, no medicine, no electricity, and no outside contact. We used to actually go down to the river, could get water, and just find anything edible just to survive. And that day, my mom actually made soup for everyone, and everyone was finished eating except me. But finally, after she called me in, once I got upstairs, the first thing I had to do was wash my hands. Now, when you go upstairs to wash your hands, it's not a hand washing like what you're thinking right now. It's not like a pandemic hand washing. When you walked into our bathroom, what we had is a canister of water that was on a sink. So you take that canister of water, you put it under your armpit, and you're going to put it just at the right angle because you don't want to spill too much water. Then you take this little tiny piece of soap. Now this tiny piece of soap, I don't know where my parents got it, but it looked like it's been sitting there since like 1942, right? So you take this little tiny piece of bar soap and you pour just enough water to get just enough soap to wash your hands, but not too much because you don't know how long that little soap's going to last you. And then you put it back. And then you start washing your hands, but you're not washing your hands over the sink. No, we had this orange bucket that was underneath there that was catching actually the dirty water. And that water would be used maybe to flush the toilet or God knows what, right? Everything was recycled and reused. And I may say that I was green way before it was cool to be green, right? So as I'm standing there washing my hands, I could hear my friends talking. Right next to me, there's a bathtub, there's a window. And the window is always open because it was mid-July, middle of the summer, and you're just trying to get some air, fresh air in. So I jumped in the bathtub, look out the window, and I tried talking to my friends. See, we were trying to decide what we're going to do in the basement that night. And I was on the third floor talking to my friends, but it was so difficult. I was yelling, they were yelling back at me, and I said, you know what, just wait for me. You know when you're 16 years old and everything is so important, and God forbid that they're going to make a decision without me, right? So I said, listen, don't make any decisions. I'll be down there in 2 minutes. As I walk out of the bathroom, I go through the hallway. On the right side, there is a dining room. And right next to it, there's a kitchen. In the kitchen, I see my mom. She's washing dishes. Her back is turned towards me. So I look at my mom and I look at the soup that's waiting for me. I'm thinking, if I ask her to go, she's not going to let me to go. But being the smartest teenager ever, right? All of you that have teenagers know exactly what I mean. I come up with a plan. I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to sneak downstairs, talk to my friends, and come back up, and she won't even know that I was gone. I mean, it was a great plan. And just as I make that plan, I bolt out the door, start running. I ran so fast, I still remember that marble staircase as I was jumping over 3 steps at a time, hanging on to the railing, just flying through the air. And I wish at that moment someone stopped me and said, hey, this is the last time you're doing this. This is the last time you're ever going to run. You know those last moments that we all have? The last time you talk to someone, the last time you hug someone, the last argument, the last goodbye. They just vanish as though they never existed. Not letting us enjoy them because I would have made it so much better if I had known it was the last time. Well, that was one of my moments. As I came downstairs, I walked up to where my friends were sitting, and there was a wall there. They were all sitting behind the wall, and I sat just on top of the wall. And just as I sat there, I started to choke. I couldn't understand what was happening. I tried to breathe, but something sharp was going through my throat, and I kept saying to myself, just breathe, just breathe. As long as you breathe, you're going to be okay. And just instinctively, I took my head, put it in my shirt, and I felt myself take a deep breath, and I thought, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. But at that moment, it's almost like your primitive brain takes over, and it doesn't let you just look up and see what's going on. No, it feeds you information just little bits at a time as to not to overwhelm you. So I start looking around me in these concentric circles. I look at my feet, my shoes, my shoelaces, they're bloody. I look at my arm, it's throbbing. I couldn't understand what was going on. So I look even the bigger circle, and over here I see my friend with her 4-year-old daughter sitting on her lap, their heads keeled over, both dead. Still not understanding what's going on, I look even the bigger circle, and over here I see 2 more of my friends also dead, just blown to bits. Still desperately searching for an answer, I look even the bigger circle, and over here I see my other friend. She was walking towards me carrying 2 canisters of water, and just as I look into her eyes for an answer, I see there's nothing behind them. She was standing there dead, looking at me. Now, I'm not prepared to look at a dead body standing, and in shock, I try to shake off the images. As I try to shake it off, gravity pulls her to the ground and she collapses. Still desperately trying to find an answer, I look even a bigger circle right across the street. I see my younger brother. He was standing there hanging out with his friends, and he was looking at me and staring directly into my eyes. I remember still his beautiful, big, hazel eyes filled with tears. And it was almost like in that moment, I got into his body, and through his eyes, I saw what happened to me. I saw that the bomb has exploded less than 10 feet from me, killing all of my friends, and I was severely injured. And poof, just like that, my life, my dreams, my plans, my hopes, they're all gone, as though they never existed. What athlete? Now, in this moment, I ask you, how do I keep going despite being knocked down by life? I mean, it's easy to be positive when things are going pretty good, even if it is genocide. But the key to resiliency is to stay positive when your world has been turned upside down. When you find yourself in this black tunnel, kicked so hard by life that you think you will never recover. But then, in a moment, like a beacon of hope and light, you just find a way to project yourself into your beautiful future. You find your way out of that rubble. You find the hope and positivity to propel yourself just one more time. So how do we do this? How do you stay positive despite your circumstance? And how do I, in that horrible moment, stay positive? See, I have two choices. I could look at my brother and say, I'm a victim. Why did this happen to me? Why me? I mean, my brother's across the street doing the same thing. Why did I have to lose my friends, my legs, and my future? I could be a victim. I have every right to be. Or I could turn to the other side, look at the 5 dead bodies and say, I'm a hero. I survived. I owe it to these people to live. I mean, the facts of my situation are exactly the same. Nothing has changed. Nothing. Except my perspective on those facts. Because, and you remember this, positivity is a matter of perspective, and perspective is a matter of choice, your choice. So instead of choosing to see myself as a victim of my circumstance, I chose to project myself into the future where I saw myself fighting for my life, running and walking again, creating a new destiny to honor these dead bodies. I chose to project myself into hope, which would lead me to conquer unknown frontiers and create a whole brand new life I never could have imagined. In this perspective and positive attitude, like a beacon, it guides us, instilling hope and power so that we can be resilient and go through anything. Just like I had gone through amputation without anesthesia, having over 100 surgeries, learning to walk and run again, moving to USA without my parents, learning English, finishing college, starting and running a successful software company, and just standing here in front of you sharing my truth. All of that started with one slight shift of my perspective, a seemingly small decision, a positive attitude. Because regardless which circumstance you find yourself in, regardless of what your facts are, you always have a choice to project yourself into a hopeful future. You can stay positive and change the course of your life, because positivity is a matter of perspective, and perspective is a matter of choice, your choice. Thank you.